Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for joining us for today's A Month of Service presentation of voter registration laws. My name is Nia Murray. I am the program coordinator for Neighborhood Recovery Community Development Corporation, and we are one of the partners in the A Month of Service collaboration. Also included is the City of Houston's Department of Neighborhoods, and representing them is Ms. Myra Hippolyte. Also included in the partnership is Lone Star Legal Aid, Harris County Tax Assessor Collector's Office, Harris Central Appraisal District, Houston Bar Association, the Earl Carl Institute, and Houston Volunteer Lawyers. And together we make up A Month of Service. And basically what A Month of Service is a collaboration of all 8 organizations. We come together on a monthly basis throughout the month, offering a variety of different workshops, information, resources relative to community empowerment, asset building, asset protection, and the maintaining of generational wealth. So one of the presentations includes today's information is about voter registration laws. We know that there's a lot of miscommunication, misnomers about what the laws are and what the process is to register to vote. So we wanted to make sure that we inform the community with as much information as we possibly could as it relates to voting and upcoming elections. So today we're going to have a presentation by the Harris County Elections Administrator's Office. And presenting today is Ms. Megan Blackwell. But just to kind of give you a little bit of a background really quick about A Month of Service, we started collaborating several years ago in person. We would go into one community around the city, stay there for an entire month, offering a variety of different workshops and information that helps empower the community. And then we would pack up and go to a different neighborhood and do the exact same thing, which is kind of how we came up with A Month of Service. But of course, due to COVID, we've had to transition and adapt and adjust to a virtual platform. And it's been wonderful. It's been great. This has allowed us the opportunity to reach even more people around the city, around the county, throughout the entire state, even in other states, or people that are from here that are in other countries that still tune in to our presentation. So here is an opportunity for you all to ask whatever questions that it is that you'd like. We ask that you try to keep your questions to be as general as you possibly can. Keep in mind that the information that this session is being recorded. We are also broadcasting live on our social media platform at Amos Houston TX. So when you ask your questions, just to try to keep them general so that they can be addressed overall, as opposed to being real specific. We do want to try to protect your privacy as much as we can and don't want personal detail information kind of getting out there for everybody to actually have access to. So please keep that in mind when you're asking your questions. If you're joining us on Zoom, please feel free to type your questions into the chat or wait until the end of the presentation and you can unmute yourself and ask your questions directly aloud. If you're joining us on Facebook, please feel free to type your questions into the comment section so that we can have your questions addressed there as well. So on behalf of A Month of Service, I'd like to thank you all for joining us and welcome back, since we're kind of going back into the fall session and we're invigorated and ready to go all over again. So again, we'll have more detailed information about other upcoming workshops that we've got at the end. So hope you all stick around for that. And we look forward to hearing your questions and hearing the presentation that we've got awaiting for you guys. So we're going to start with our introductions, and we're going to have Ms. Myra with the City of Houston's Department of Neighborhoods introduce herself.
Welcome back, everyone. It's been wonderful. We were out for about a month, but we're very grateful to be able to see each one of you. Of course, everyone, my name is Myra Hippolyte, and I work with the City of Houston Department of Neighborhoods. And on behalf of Mayor Sylvester Turner and Director Takasha Francis, we want to welcome you to the Month of Service Partnership. This partnership is all about giving back free information to anyone. I don't care where you're at. We want to make sure that whenever you're going through a stressor in your life, that you have all the correct information so you can make the right decision specifically to your needs. You know, my needs may be different than yours. So whatever information we give you, you know, we want to make sure that whatever you're going through, you're able to make the right decisions. Guys, we have been gone for a whole month. So my welcoming is a bit different. And Mr. Cave, I see you. Miss Kelly,
Miss
Miss
Gerlach.
Evans, guys, it's so warm, wonderful to see you all again. Miss Gerlach, oh my God, I'm seeing all my friends. Miss Long, so Miss Lugo. So guys, Nia and I were just talking about how it's nice to see our friends back. So welcome. The month of service is back again, and little bit by little bit, Nia and I will get back into the process of welcoming everybody. So thanks everyone. And as you all know, Miss Gerlach, you always remind me, be quiet, Myra. So here I am. Have a great day. Thanks.
Okay, Megan, would you like to introduce yourself and Brenton so that people know who he is in the chat?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Megan Blackwell, and I am so
What's going on with your audio? It's an echo and it's kind of staticky. It was fine a minute ago. I'm not sure what happened.
I know that's
You're on mute now.
Yes. Is this any better?
Yeah, I think it's like when you lean in closer, you're fine. I think when you kind of sit back.
Okay. Well, I'm super excited to be here. Like I said, I was Megan Blackwell, and I am
Yeah, it's choppy again. Brenton, can you hear us okay? Oh, we apologize for that. We were all good a few minutes ago, and all of a sudden it's just, it's our housing council would always say it's just the devil trying to keep us from getting information out there to people that we know that somebody needs to receive some information here. So
Little bit by little bit, we'll get it together. Mr. Brenton, are you on?
I saw him unmute.
Alrighty, let's see if this is any better.
Oh yes, much better.
Okay, perfect. So my apologies on that, but we're back at it. So like I was saying, my name is Megan Blackwell, and I'm a community coordinator with the Harris County Elections Administration's outreach team. We are always out in Harris County doing voter registration, making sure that these information is going to be very informative for you, easily and accessible, and also informative so you can be educated when you are going out and voting. So we are so excited to be here, and I'm really ready for this presentation so you can get all the knowledge that you need.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
And Brenton Jackson will be available to answer questions in the chat. Even though they may get answered in the chat from him, I still will go over and read the questions aloud for those that either can't see or don't have access to the chat, so that you can hear the questions that are being asked and answered as well. So you guys can go right ahead.
Alrighty,
Okay.
the screen is ready and set to go. Awesome. So we are here for the voter registration informative meeting. Let's get started on my side here. Just 1 second as we are. Alrighty. So I wanted to start off this presentation talking about the upcoming dates for the November election. There's so many that we are going to be going over, so I wanted to bring a visual to bring it all together in a nice, concise way. So the important dates, September 19th. This is going to be National Voter Registration Day. Alrighty, there are going to be so many voter registration events across Harris County, And this is where you can let your friends, family members know if you're not registered to vote, this is the day. It's National Voter Registration Day. So make sure that is marked on your calendars, September 19th. Then we have October 10th. This is the very last day to register to vote in Texas for the upcoming November 7th election. Okay, so like I said, if you know anyone who needs to change their address or haven't recently moved and they haven't updated their information, or they just haven't registered yet and they want to vote in the upcoming election, the last day to do that is October 10th, okay? And our outreach team, we will be doing many voter registration drives across the county to ensure that Harris County residents have the ability to register on this very last day, okay? So moving forward, October 23rd, that is going to be the first day of early voting. This is a great time to go out and vote. You don't have to wait for the last minute. All righty. October 27th, this is the deadline for mail ballot applications to be sent in. Alrighty, so if you are eligible for mail ballot applications, this is the deadline that you would want to have on your calendar to ensure that you are sending that in to us. Okay, November 3rd, this is the last day of early voting. Okay, so you have that very last day to early vote, and we will go into the times into the next slide. So just hang on. So November 7th, that is election day, very last day to vote. Okay, that is also the last date for us to receive a ballot by mail, November 7th. All right, so save these dates and the times. A prepared voter is an early voter. So you have 7 a.m. You can go there as early as 7 a.m. if you would like and cast your ballot. You have it from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. from October 23rd to November 3rd for early voting. And then for election day, November 7th, also 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. All righty, moving forward to voter registration. All righty, so there are 5 qualifications to register to vote. So to be eligible to register to vote, a person must be at least 17 years of age and 10 months. All right, so that's 2 months before their birthday, they can register to vote. Okay, they must also be a United States citizen, must be a resident of the county we're registering. So since we're talking about Harris County, they must be a Harris County resident. All right, not have been determined by a final judgment of a court to be mentally incapacitated or partially mentally incapacitated without the right to vote. Okay, and lastly, not have been finally convicted of a felony, or if so convicted, must have 1, fully discharged the person's sentence, or 2, been pardoned or otherwise released from the resulting disability to vote. So when it comes to people who have a felony charge, if they are completely done with their parole, probation, or anything regarding to their felony charge, and they are what is commonly known as off paper, they are eligible to vote. So that is a good thing to know when we are out in the community engaging with residents and letting people know their rights as a voter. So let's continue on. So voter registration. The deadline, like I said, to register to vote is 30 days before election day. So the last day to register to vote is going to be October 10th, 2023. To change your name or address, a completed and signed application is required. So in Texas, we do not allow voter registration, but mailing is acceptable. Okay, so great way to register to vote is out in your community where we have our voter registration drives. You can request an application to be mailed to you and mail it back. There are so many options on there, and this is going to be all found on our Harris Votes website, which I will be bringing to you as well throughout this presentation. So let's talk voter eligibility. If you have just moved to Harris County, you can register to vote here. The applicant must submit a voter registration application on the day you move in. Once you are, we always say when we're registering to vote, wherever you lay your head in. So when you lay your head down, you just moved, it's time to register to vote in that new place of residence, okay? So the applicant can vote as soon as the 30th day after submitting the application. This 30-day waiting period starts when the volunteer deputy voter registrar receives the application form. And we'll talk all about volunteer deputy voter registrars throughout this training because this is a great way to get engaged. So stay tuned for that. So let's talk about the voting options for college students. I know many of our relatives may be in college, friends, and it's great to know the options that they have. So if college students are registered to vote in Harris County already, they have 3 options. They can either register to vote in the county of college residency, they can come back to Harris County and vote on the local issues during early voting or on election day, or they can decide to stay where they are, stay registered in Harris County, but request an absentee ballot. Okay, this is great information to know because when I was in college, I stayed registered in Harris County and I drove all the way back, and I was not close to where I lived. But then I knew I could just register where I was at for college, and it was a great experience voting there as well because it is your choice and you have these options. So we want to make sure that the college students out there know their options when it comes to voting. Alrighty, so let's talk about planning to vote. Alrighty, how to prepare to vote. You want to start by checking your voter registration status. How do you do that? You can go to our website, harrisvotes.com. Under the voter tab on your screen, you would click voter, go to registration, and the voter registration search is there. You can enter your name, your address, or even your VUID number if you know it. You can enter those things there in the field and check your status. If you see that you are registered, you want to check, is the address correct? If the address isn't correct, then you know that you need to update your registration status. You also want to check if it's in suspense. Okay, this is the way that you would go about doing that. And this is how you are preparing to vote. So once you have checked your status, let's say that you're registered, your address is up to date. The next thing you want to do is to click on your name when you search it, and it'll bring you to your voter registration card. Once you see your voter registration card, you can also click to find what is next here, a sample ballot. Sample ballots are a really great tool to use because they are unique to your address and it will show you what is exactly going to be on your ballot specifically. So the sample ballots are available as soon as the ballots are finalized, and this is usually towards the end of September. Okay, sample ballots are provided in the 4 languages: English, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Chinese. The great thing to know about sample ballots is that you can print them and take them with you to the polling location. So it kind of makes it like an open book test. If you take your sample ballot, you've already filled it out, you go there and you vote and you already know exactly what you are going to select. It makes it a lot easier. It takes away some of the stress of not knowing, and you can do your own independent research with your sample ballot. So I definitely highly recommend that you can check out this feature on harrisvotes.com. So once you get your sample ballot, these are some of the things you may see. So as of now, the following contests that I have on the screen are for the November 7th, 2023 general and special elections in Harris County. Okay, so the number of contests in which a voter can cast a ballot, it does vary by where you're currently living or the political subdivision where a voter is registered to vote. So only citizens who are registered to vote within the legal boundaries of the city of Houston can vote on the contest offered by the city of Houston. So a Houston postal address does not guarantee that a voter lives within Houston proper. So in order to alleviate thinking you may be able to vote for something, you not be able to vote for something, you should check your sample ballot so you can see exactly what you can vote on. If it's on your sample ballot, then that means you can vote for it. And these are just a few things that may be on your ballot. All right, let's talk polling locations. Where are you going to vote? In Harris County, voters can vote at any location. Okay, we have county-wide voting. So polling locations must be approved by Commissioners Court and the political parties. And the locations will be posted online before the end of September. So if you go on our website right now, and this is exactly what you'll see, it'll say that the vote centers are not finalized or they are not confirmed yet. So stay tuned toward the end of September so you can find these locations, so you can find the one that's closest to you. It's a really great tool. You can change it from early voting, or if you're going to vote on election day. You can also see wait times. So if you type in an address and you see that this is close to you, but it has a wait, but you find a shorter wait that's well, maybe down the street, this is a great tool to be able to research where you are going to go and cast your ballot. So let's talk mail ballots. Righty. And the eligibility. So to be able to be eligible for mail-in ballots, voters must be 65 years of age or older. Voters outside of Harris County are eligible for a mail-in ballot if they are out of the county during early voting or on election day. Voters who are confined in jail and eligible to vote are eligible for a mail-in ballot. Voters with a disability or are confined for childbirth, they are also eligible for mail-in ballot. And the application deadline for a mail-in ballot is October 27th. So the process for a mail ballot application. To request a mail ballot application, you should visit either harrisvotes.com. You can email vbm@harrisvotes.com, or you can call our office 713-755-6965 in order to request an application, okay? When you receive the application, you should make sure that you are returning it with the driver's license and social security number filled out, and it must be signed. When you see the application, it's in red, to ensure that you are signing the document before you are mailing it in. Okay? So this is an example of what the mail ballot application looks like. You want to always verify the return address to protect your information. It is always the following return address, that is Harris County Elections Administrator's Office with our PO box. So if you using mail-in ballot, this is exactly what the application will look like, and it also has the eligibility on there as well for your reference. So now let's move into speaking about voters with disabilities. So voters who are physically unable to enter polling locations without assistance or the likelihood of affecting voters' health, they are still within the rights to vote. The process of a voter with a disability, they will come up and press the button on the curbside, wait in line in the order that they have arrived. A poll worker will be notified for them to come out to the car, to the curbside voter, and verify their ID. And what's very cool, they have a portable voting machine. It will be brought to them for them to cast their ballot in the comfort of their own vehicle. And it's a very smooth process. And we want people in the community to know that these resources are there for them. Ready? As well as language assistance, and these are within your rights. So language assistance that we provide when it comes to casting your ballot, it will be materials and ballots in English, Spanish, Chinese, and Vietnamese. And live ASL interpreters are available upon request 24 hours in advance for election day. Interpreters and helpers, remote interpreters, like I said, that is also within the 24-hour in advance request for election day, as well as individual assistance is allowed after signing an affidavit at the vote center. Okay, and aids for communication disabilities. You can request access device at the vote center, and these are all accessible there. And this is all great information to let the community know what resources are readily available for them. All right, so aids for communication disabilities. We have aids for audio, visual impairments, and also mobility. We have ADA duo machines that you'll see in the next video for those who are in a wheelchair so that they are able to vote as well. We also have Video American Sign Language ASL interpreters. We have the video remote, VRI, available as well, the tactical sign language interpreters, accessible voting machines, and access device, audio tactical inference. And this is an example of what will be on the voting machine to make it as accessible as possible. So let's talk about the voting machines and how to use them. So this is a great demonstration of how to use our voting machines. It starts with one, you insert the special ballot paper into the voting machine. Then number two, you make your selections using the touchscreen or access device. Three, you print it on the Duo and you review your choices. If there are any errors, you let a poll worker know and they will be able to allow you to make the changes that you need to make. And then four, you will insert your reviewed ballot into the scan. And what I love is when you see the American flag, that means your ballot has officially been cast. It's a very easy process. So how to use the new voting machines in Harris County. We have a video machine demonstration here for you. So let me go ahead and pull that up for you.
It's not playing.
All righty, give it 1 second.
Harris County is ahead of the curve in incorporating new
It started working for a second and then it stopped.
equipment with a paper trail. The new machines ensure our elections are safer and more secure than ever. At check-in,
We hear the audio, but the video itself is not playing either.
Okay, give us 1 second. I apologize. Give me 1 second.
If there are any questions while we're working through the technical difficulty, please feel free to type those into the chat or raise your hand after the presentation and you can unmute yourself and ask the questions directly. They are eligible to ask the questions directly.
Okay, I think we have it ready now.
Okay.
Harris County is ahead of the curve in incorporating new equipment with a paper trail. The new machines ensure our elections are safer and more secure than ever. At check-in, you'll receive 2 sheets of special ballot paper with your access code.
Yeah, let's try and bring the video back toward the end.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
I'm gonna let it buffer.
Well, while we're waiting, Megan, I know I heard you say that the ballots and the boxes and things will be available in English, Spanish, Chinese, and Vietnamese. If there are other languages that are needed, what would someone need to do in order to have a language accessible in a different language?
In that moment, I would have them reach out to the poll worker there for them to actually reach out to our office to get a better interpretation for them. I just know that on hand, there are specifically English, Spanish, Chinese, and Vietnamese to accommodate the diversity of Houston basis of voters. But in that instance, there is a number that is provided by the poll workers that they can use in the case that that does happen.
So was it better for somebody to prepare for that in advance versus waiting till the day of the election?
Can you repeat that as well?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I did not hear.
So is it better in that scenario for somebody to reach out well in advance as opposed to
Yes.
waiting for the day of election?
I would definitely say for that would be a great option, as well as knowing that there is a translation tablet on hand that the presiding judge will have access to, that can aid in that instance as well.
Okay, well, why don't we move along and then we can get back to the video after.
Alrighty. So once we are at the vote center, it's great to know what type of ID bring. So let's go ahead and get into that. So here in Harris County, there are a variety of acceptable forms of ID, but voters must present one of these 7 acceptable forms of ID. And that is either a Texas driver's license issued by the Texas Department of Public Safety, or a Texas election identification certificate issued by the DPS. Also, a Texas personal identification card issued by the DPS, a Texas handgun license issued by the DPS, also a United States military identification card containing the person's photograph is acceptable, also a United States citizenship certificate containing the person's photograph, or a United States passport, the book or the card. It's also good to note that voters between the ages of 18 and 69 years old can present one of their photo IDs, even if it's expired, but it cannot be no more than 4 years past the expiration date. And voters that are 70 and up, they can present one of the photo IDs, even if it is expired, no matter when the ID expired. And it's also good to know that US citizenship certificates do not expire. So in the instance that a voter does not possess or cannot obtain one of the forms of photo ID, they will be requested to fill out a reasonable impediment declaration, which is a RID at a vote center, and they shall present another form of ID, such as a utility bill, bank statement, government check, or voter registration certificate. Alrighty. If they are unable to present these, they will have to what is called curing their ballot, which is 6 days upon election day. They will have to present their type A voter registration form of ID. They have to go the route of using a reasonable impediment declaration. Okay, so let's talk about ways to get involved in all things community engagement. Here in Harris County, we have a great community of volunteer deputy voter registrars. So in order to get deputized as a volunteer deputy voter registrar, it's a very easy process. The Texas election law provides county voter registrars to designate individuals to assist in the registration of eligible persons to vote. These individuals are appointed as volunteer deputy registrars or VDVRs, and they operate under state rules and the supervision of the county voter registrar. So the eligibility to become a volunteer deputy voter registrar, you must be at least 18 years of age, a United States citizen, and a Texas resident. A volunteer deputy voter registrar, you cannot receive another person's voter registration application until you receive your certificate of appointment, and that is after completing one of the mandatory trainings. So we have trainings all throughout Harris County in person. as well as online. And you can find our training links on our website, and that is harrisvotes.com. Alrighty. So if you have already received a voter registration, a volunteer deputy voter registrar appointment between 2021 and 22, it has expired as of December 31st, 22. So you would need to re-certify for the years 2023 and 2024. Alrighty. So if you are currently a volunteer deputy voter registrar, we would love to have you work with us and our team of community coordinators. Like I said, we do voter registration events all across the county. And this QR code, if you would like to scan it, I'll give you a moment. You can scan it and it will take you to our community coordinator map. And you will find a community coordinator that is in your area that is currently doing voter registration drives. So this is a great way for you to be engaged and go out and register voters as we get closer and closer to the November election. So I will give it a minute here if you want to take out your phone and you can scan this QR code and it will take you straight there. All righty. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move forward. Speaking still to the VDVRs that are out there, assisting voters. As a VDVR, you may assist any resident of the county in completing a voter registration application. If they cannot read or if they have a physical disability, you are able to help them. In this instance, if the applicant is unable to sign his or her name on the application, the applicant may make a mark on the signature line of the application. The process in which you would then print their name next to their mark on the application as the volunteer deputy voter registrar. You'll then sign your name as the witness and state the reason the applicant is unable to sign. I'll give a beautiful example of what that will look like if you are currently a volunteer deputy voter registrar, and for you to know that you can help someone if they need it. And it's also good to know if you are a VDVR that you are allowed to have another registered voter fill out and sign an application for his or her spouse, parent, or child. That person is acting as an agent and they must state the relationship on the application. And they also must have the permission of the applicant to do this. So when you're assisting someone who's unable to sign, this is exactly what the application would look like. So Jane C. Smith is the applicant, and you know that it's Jane C. Smith because Mary Long has indicated that they have a broken arm. Jane C. Smith has made an X on the signature line, and the VDVR, Mary Long, has signed the name, they printed the name, not signed it. You don't want to forge anyone's signature. And then they left their information in the area that is available to fill in the VDVR's name and the VDVR's address and the reason the person isn't able to sign. And then you would fill out the application just as normal. So in the instance that someone is signing an application on behalf of their parent, spouse, or child, they will fill out the application for the applicant. Once again, Jane C. Smith is the applicant. But in this instance, the husband, Joe Smith, is signing the application on behalf of them. So when it comes to the signature line, you want to make sure that the husband is signing their name, not the name of the applicant, Jane. They're signing their name and stating the relationship to the applicant. And in this instant, Joe is the husband. Righty. So volunteer deputy voter registrars out there, if you are registering a voter and they are experiencing houselessness, they are still eligible to vote. Okay, they must provide a residence address, which could be a description of the location of the resident. So this could be saying that they usually are at the crossing of Preston and Maine, or Griggs and OST. I'm just throwing things out there, but a descriptive place would be sufficient for a residence address if a person is unhoused at the moment. Now, they would need to provide a mailing address. Okay, and on the mailing address, this has to be a place where we can send their voter registration certificate. This can be a shelter if they are currently visiting there. This could be a family member. This could also be a library if the library allows them to receive mail. This is all for them to receive that certificate, okay? The residence address, the description, not a PO box. It cannot be a business address, but the mailing address has to be somewhere for them to receive their voter certification card. So, more ways to get involved. You can become an election worker. On our website, we have a useful tab for election workers. It has all of the lovely requirements to become an election worker on there, and the links for the trainings as well are available. And it also has a great question and answer function where people can go on there for frequently asked questions about being an election worker. This is a really great way to see the ins and outs of what it takes and what it is to be a part of an election and to successfully run an election in Harris County. So here, this is our Linktree QR code. This is for you to scan. If you would like to follow us on Instagram, we would love for you to follow us on our Instagram, because we are making sure that you have all the information that you need in regards to upcoming elections, voter registration deadlines, voter registration events, and how to keep you engaged and informed so you can go out and be as involved and engaged as possible. So here, the Linktree, it'll take you to all of the tabs that will be resourceful to you. So if you want to take a minute to go ahead and scan that, I will pause here for you to do that. Once again, you can pull out your phone and scan it on your screen. Alrighty. So if you've gone ahead and scanned that, that is great. And if you haven't, our Instagram is Harris Votes, all together, no spaces, at Harris Votes. Once again, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to be here. This is the end of my presentation, and I want to open the floor for any and every question you may have. I am here for that at this moment. So thank you all.
Okay. We don't seem like we have any questions in the chat. However, there were a couple that were emailed to me. What is the time frame after someone registers to vote that they are eligible to vote for like an upcoming election? Or what's the time frame before they get their card or before they know that thing is ready to go?
So after they have signed their application and given it to the volunteer deputy voter registrar or mailed it in, it is a 30-day waiting period. They are eligible to vote 30 days after registering to vote, and they will receive their voter registration card within 4 weeks, and it will be blue and sent right to them. So we always let our volunteer deputy voter registrars know to let the registrants, the applicants know to look out for that and that they're eligible 30 days.
And if they don't receive their card, can they still vote?
So a great thing about the application, they will receive a receipt from the volunteer deputy voter registrar if this is in person. That receipt has a number on it that they can use to check the pending status of their application. And we are always informing the applicants to hold on to that and use that if they have not received their voter registration certificate. And a lot of the times, if there is an error, then things will be mailed to them from our office. If there is an error in the address, then that is why it is great for them to hold on to their receipt to know to reach out to us if they haven't received that in the 30 days. And that is all included at the very bottom of the receipt as well. So to have that pending registration to confirm registration status on the website.
And that's a receipt that they receive in person when they register, or is this something that gets mailed?
Correct. This is in person when they are registering with the volunteer deputy voter registrar. They will, at the bottom of the application, it is a perforated receipt, and it is given to them, and the receipt number matches directly to the application, which is then processed in the office as well. And they are linked together, and they can check that status of the application on harrisvotes.com when you would do the voter registration search.
Okay, which brings up my next question. So with there being so much fraud and scams and all kinds of stuff going on and people giving out, their information, what is it that somebody, in addition to the receipt, now that I know that you get this receipt in person, what is it that somebody should be looking out for if, they come across somebody that's doing like a voter registration drive, or they say it's a voter registration drive? What do they need to see to make sure this is a valid Harris County elections worker that they're giving their information to?
Yes, that is a really great question. And what they should look out for is a volunteer deputy voter registrar certificate of appointment. It is yellow, and it has their certificate, their volunteer deputy number on there. And that number, it also has a QR code. And give me 1 second, Mr. Brenton Jackson is going to bring me his. They should look out for this card here. Oh, I'm so sorry, give me 1 second.
Yeah, we can't see it.
Can't see it. Okay, there we are.
Yep.
You
Okay.
can see. This is the card that you should look for when you are registering to vote. All Harris County volunteer deputy voter registrars that have gone through the state mandated training receive this certificate of appointment. And on the back, it has all of the information that is certifying that they are who they are. And this is what they should look out for.
Okay, and can they request that of that worker just to see it, just to verify in case they need to, or?
They sure can. And also on the receipt portion, at the bottom, they will have, like I said, the receipt number. It will have the name and also the number of the person who has registered them to have a tracking system. There's also a really great processing team at the Harris County Election Office that ensures who is registering who with what affidavit goes to what person, what date, when did they turn these in, when is it timestamped. It's secure. So
Okay.
I always, every time when I'm out registering voters, I ensure that, because I understand that there is a lot of fear and intimidation that can come with it. And I always want to make it as easy and seamless as possible. So the measures are in place for them to have security with us.
Okay, question here in the chat. What is the county doing or will do to prevent the issues that are prevalent with voting now?
Exactly. In relation to what, get a little specific in that question, very great.
Reggie, could you be a little more specific, or would you like to unmute yourself and ask?
Yeah, I'd just like to know, ever since, well, I'm sure, if you're political, all the issues that we're currently facing with voting. And I'd just like to know, and even in Harris County, one of my fraternity brothers was asking me the other day, was it last year when we had, they were doing some things to stop the early voting and things. And instead of the laws making it easier for people to vote, it seemed like they're making it a lot harder and difficult and doing everything they can to discourage people. So, and there was even some concerns about the elections chairperson. There's some things that he did wrong. So I've just wanted to know, because people don't want to cast their votes if they don't think they're going to be counted accurately. And I just want to make sure, is the county doing everything that's possible so that we won't have the issues that they're having in Georgia and other places, saying that votes are being stolen. You hear all these rumors about dead people voting, and I just want to know what is going on so that we can ensure that our elections are fair and that when we cast our votes, it will be counted accurately.
Well, Reggie, thank you so much for your question. I have a limited amount of what I can answer on that in my position. What I can say is being in outreach and being in the community, we focus on being visible to the community to answer these questions when we are out there to alleviate like I said, the stress or the anxiety that can come with it. I can speak from outreach perspective, letting people know the resources that are available, going to places. We go to churches, we go to schools, we go to farmers markets, being where people wouldn't even expect us at the park. You know, being visible and being in the community is what we are doing to ensure that we are personable and there for the residents of Harris County. And I would also say, for more information on what is happening with the election administration and the laws with the Texas legislature or anything in that instance, I would definitely recommend to follow the Commissioner's Court. There's a lot of information there.
You're muted.
You went blank.
Yes, you muted.
With their agendas as well. Please do this. Are we good?
Yes.
Now, yes.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question. If, and this is gonna be two questions. One's for anyone that's over 65 and wants to mail in their voter registration. Are there new changes that they need to watch out for this year compared to last year when it was easy to just send your voter registration in? Are there some big changes that our seniors need to watch out for?
For voter registration?
No,
The mail-
I'm sorry, for
the mail
mailing
ballot.
of voting.
Okay, for mail-in ballot, the application process is the same. Can you hear me? I want to make sure
No.
that I'm clear. Yes, the mail-in process is the same. I would definitely recommend that they are doing it beforehand so that they would not have any roadblocks, to call the office if they have any questions, making sure that they are requesting it, checking the status of their ballot as well, and following the procedures that are set, because you know, this is a process that needs to be followed very closely. So the application process and receiving that has not changed for them,
So
and it is
when-
all on harrisvotes.com.
When will the ballots or the ballot applications be mailed so people know when to look out for them?
The mail ballot application, give me 1 second. I actually do not have that available at this very second. I know that they need to be mailed in by the 27th, but when they will be mailed out, I do not have that information because I personally do not mail them out.
Okay, but a mail-in ballot, the new law says that they will need to provide either a driver's license number or the last 4 digits of their social security number twice. Once an absentee ballot application form and once on the envelope. So we need to remind our seniors that when they're turning in their mailed-in ballots, to make sure that they're gonna have to provide their social security number and or their driver's license twice, not once.
That's
It's
all.
not only gonna be, you know, like they used to be just in their ballot. Now they're gonna have to put it on their ballot as well as their envelope. So that's a change that's come in with the voting ballot. Also for students, college students that are voting in their prospective school areas. Are they
Mhm.
allowed to vote, or is there a change there too?
So yes, in the presentation for college students, if they are a Harris County resident, they have 3 options. That was either that they can register where they are currently at school. So outside of Harris County, if they want to register there, they have that option. They can stay registered in Harris County and they can travel back and vote for early voting or on election day. Or they can request an absentee ballot be sent to them and they stay registered in Harris County and vote that way. So
So
those
a
are the 3 options.
So a lot of
Policy.
universities are putting voting booths in their schools now that students can vote in prospective schools? Or is it only Harris County allowing the college students to do that? And if you live in another county, would there be another rule? Maybe that county's not allowing the college students. Is this a state rule or is this a county by county rule?
So in regards to registration, when you are registered there, you register there. When it comes to polling locations,
Mhm.
I can speak specifically on Harris County polling locations because it may be different. Harris County, there are colleges that have polling locations on their campus. Now, in other counties, they may not have that option. but in Harris County, that is an option for students in the past.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
And for seniors, for voting ballots, just once more time, I just want to make sure, because there were some changes in the new vote by mail. If you're over 65 or you're a hero, you know, you're in the armed forces, it says that you need to provide either a driver's license number or the 4 digits of
Four
social
digits.
security number twice. Once on their absentee ballot application form and once on the envelope which they return when they return their ballots. So that's 2 things we need. It's different than before. Before it was just on the ballot. Now it has to be on the envelope also. So anyone that is involved in assisting seniors, we need to make sure that specifically here in Texas,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
you're voting in your ballot, you're sending in your ballot. We need to make sure that those new rules, the seniors understand those new rules.
And I will definitely say it for another part of Harris County elections. That is a great thing to know, that our community engagement team with our community coordinators are having these conversations in the community as well. And these are virtual and also in person as well, all throughout Harris County. And these are resources that are available. And this is also on Harris Votes as well.
So, and that's why you're here today. So that's awesome because we have a lot of our senior advocates. We have Ms. Gerlach, we got Mr. Cave, we have Ms. Lugo, we have Ms. Evans and Ms. Lynn. We're all trying to get the same information because there are new rules as of last year, you know, in 2022, when it came to voting, that changed. So when you're here, and I apologize, Nia and I will drill you because we work with a lot of seniors and we want to make sure, you know, that all our seniors and all our younger adults and actually everyone has the same information going. I know they can go
Right.
to the Harris County, you know, your office, but while we're here, we're going to ask you some questions just to make sure we get we're able to pass on the right information. Ms. Gerlach and Mr. Cave, I know you all have some questions. Would you like to confirm with some questions that you all have, because you're very active in your prospective communities?
This is Linda Skerlock. I put a question in the chat about the number of people that can be transported by a person to the polls. I know that sometimes seniors will get together and go in one car. What's the number in the car?
At the moment, I do not want to give you the wrong information, as I do not have that presently on my person. What I can say is that you can definitely reach out to our office and I'll drop that information for you. But at the very moment, I do not know, but I can say that that is accessible through our website as well.
Ms. Gerlach, we'll get that information for you. Once, Ms. Megan, once you get that information, could you send it to Nia and I, and we can pass on that information?
I sure can.
Ms. Gerlach, do you have any other questions? Go ahead.
No, you said that, and that's important, that the seniors, first of all, they have to request the application.
Thank you.
And a lot of people still are not doing it. They're waiting. Previously, they would send it to you, right?
Right.
So now the person has to request the application. I think that's very important. A lot of seniors have forgotten that it's not the same as it was. So I think that's important that they know that they have to request that ballot. If they don't request it, they don't get one. Is that correct?
That is true. And on the presentation, that it has to be requested and sent in to the
Okay,
office.
and so they can call that number, right? A lot of our seniors are not technically literate. We're sort of limited. And a lot of people don't have computers. I know the 85, some 85-year-olds, but the 80 and so on, I know quite a few people, they don't know anything about, you know, this technology. So they
Just to confirm real quick. First thing is they need to call. What's the phone number to call?
So Was that directed towards you?
Yes, we're making sure, Ms. Carlock and I are kind of asking the same question, but just to confirm that everyone gets it. What's the phone number they need to call to request their voter mail-in ballot?
Application.
So that number, are you ready?
Yes,
That is 713
uh-huh.
755
Mhm.
6965. And I can also, let me give you, because, and I can also leave this presentation for you as well.
I'm
To
sorry.
request an application,
Can you repeat that number? Because you got cut off after 69. 713
6965.
65.
They can
Okay.
also email, and that is VBM, which stands for vote by mail, and that is at harrisvotes.com in order to request an application.
So it's vm@harrisvotes.com.
VBM, vote by mail, VBM,
So it's Victor. V like
Mail.
by, and then
B,
mail.
M. Okay, so it's V like Victor, B like boy, M mail at Harris.
Votes.
harrisvotes.com.
Okay. Is that correct in the chat?
VBM, just the
Yes.
letter
No,
Oh,
she got
why
it wrong.
VBM.
let me get rid of it.
VBM.
At.
Okay.
harrisvotes.com. And these are the 3 ways to request an application.
So first step is you have to request it. So it's either by email or call, or do you have to call?
These are the 3 options that you have. You can either email, you can call, or you can go on the website. And returning that on the presentation, can I share my screen again for the
Yes.
presentation?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Go right ahead.
Okay, give me 1 quick second. I feel like I'll give a lot more clarity. Give me 1 quick second.
I'll make sure I put that in the.
One quick second. Okay,
There it is.
so to requested, this is here for you. And when
Okay.
returning, so if you can see here, we have the 2 points that you were speaking on earlier for the Texas driver's license and also the last 4 digits of the social. This is what will be on the application here. And
Okay,
the signature
that's
as well.
step 1 is to call it, email, or go to the website, correct?
Yes.
So then you have to request it. What's the next step? What are the things that they need to watch out? Ms. Gerlach, help us with this also. In some of the questions that the seniors might be.
Was that directed to me or Ms. Sherlock?
No, go ahead.
Yes,
It was to Ms. Gerlach.
Okay.
Since Ms. Gerlach is kind of out there working with a lot of the seniors, so we're trying to get a feel for what are some of the questions or, whatever it is that a lot of the seniors actually have so that we can make sure that they get the right information.
I'm thinking how to, really the important thing is that they put the last 4 digits of their social security number and their, excuse me, I tell them to put both, just in case.
So the last
know,
4 numbers of their social
last-
security and their
And
driver's license
driver's license or ID.
or ID.
So that way, I know last year or whenever last election, a lot of people, they were kicked back and they did have time to go back and do it again. But, with the way I see it is make it right the first time.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
Mr. Cade, you've got your hand up. You have a question?
Yes, ma'am. My question was more so perhaps in the political realm, but as I understand, one of the new things in the law, new law, is that in certain instances, the Secretary of State can declare an election invalid, even though a certain candidate may have won. What are the circumstances in which that can occur?
I'm so sorry. I'm having connection issues and it was going in and out. Do you mind repeating your question, sir?
Sure. It's my understanding in the part of the new law that the legislation passed and was signed by the governor says that the Secretary of State, who's over all state elections, can invalidate or declare an election void and require a new election. And so the question is, in what circumstances can that person do so?
That is in the power of the Secretary of State to deem what they would have to do in that instance. I cannot provide what their standards would be in this present moment. Or that I would definitely regard that towards the Secretary of State
Okay,
question.
we will definitely send a request for someone from the Secretary of State to come in and present to us also, specifically to make sure all our seniors and all our community leaders are educated in what are the requirements and what are they looking for. Great question, Mr. Cave. Thank you so much. Is there another question that you may have?
Yeah, in addition to the other questions, I'm not sure if she'll be able to address that either, as far as what can private citizens do about the laws related to people, the amount of people being transported to the polls and things of that nature. So those would be, I assume, Secretary of State questions that need to be asked of them as well.
Well, Miss Britton, who, I'm sorry, Miss Megan, who would be looking at how many people transferred, how many people you had in your car? I mean, who's going to be confirming that? And, you know, once you get that number, could you, is there someone in that office that you might be able to ask?
Yes, so that would be at the vote center. That would be the presiding judge or a poll worker that would be coming out to the car, because they have to press the button on the curbside voting to request someone to come out to the car, and that would be directly at the vote center who would do the verification.
But if you're driving people into, if you're going to have, like, let's say I'm bringing Nia, Mr. Cave, Ms. Gerlach, and 10 other people in a van. How would we know how many people I can bring in a van to an election, to a polling location?
I think those are two different things. I think she's addressing people that are requesting curbside voting
Yeah,
versus
that's two different
just
things,
the
right?
transportation.
That would also. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, yes. In that moment, when you're coming to the polling location, I would direct those questions to the presiding judge over the voting center, because that is where you're coming in that moment for the verification at the polling location.
But is there a law that tells you how many people you can bring in a car, or no?
There is, and I can give you that information, but I wanted to go ahead and share the elections division for the Secretary of State as well, for your use as well. I'll go ahead and pause that here.
So for those folks that are joining by phone, and since we're recording, can you give that contact information aloud?
Yes, so I will start with the PO Box for the Elections Division of the Texas Secretary of State. That is PO Box 12060, Austin, Texas 78711-2060. And the number to call is 512-463-5650. Or you can call 1-800-252-VOTE, and that is 8683. Their fax number is 512-475-2811. And their website is www.sos.state.tx.us. You can also visit votetexas.gov or email them at elections@sos.texas.gov.
So one of the questions,
I also, I'm sorry,
Go
any any questions that I haven't been able to answer, I would also like to share this information with you as well. Our contact information for Harris Votes and also our outreach. The website is Harris Votes, as I've mentioned. You can also email us at voters@harrisvotes.com or outreach@vote.hctx.net.
Okay, Megan, the contact information for each of those departments that you just referenced, can you email that to me so that I can put it in our email along with a recording to send out to everybody so that they'll have it in front of them?
Yes, that's no problem at all.
Okay, all right, great.
Let me ask another question. Ms. Gerlach, do you have any other questions before I jump in? Or
Yes, I remember about the number of people. Remember, on voting day, we call it souls to the polls,
right,
and the churches would load up their people and carry them in vans. And I think there's the number of people that you can transport. That's the question.
that's exactly right.
Yeah, I'm looking online for that information too, and I can't find it.
So as soon as we get the information,
So yes, Nia, as soon as we get that information, I will send that directly to you for
Okay.
you to distribute that. I
Okay.
can get that number for you.
Okay.
Ms. Gerlach, any other questions you have that many of our seniors might have?
No, I think that's all. Most of the people I know vote by mail, and I tell them that you can do curbside voting. That is still, you can still do that. And you don't have to get out of your car. So that's a lot, rather than have your vote not counted because you did something on that mail-in ballot, it's easier to go to post, stay in your car and do the curbside voting.
So even
And I
though
think-
even though you sent in your ballot, you can still go and say, well, wait a minute, I'm not sure if I did it right. So you can still go into curbside voting and vote.
I don't
Right.
think so. I'm thinking, I understand that's the question that people said, I don't know about that. one. That's a tricky one. That some people voted by mail and then go into the polls, but they will, it'll show that they sent in that ballot, I think.
Hello, I can interject on that
Awesome.
there. Awesome. So in regards to someone who has received a mail-in ballot, if they decide that they want to actually vote in person, that is allowed. They have to surrender that mail-in ballot to the vote center. Okay, that is the only way that is possible. Okay, that is the process in which if they decide to do that, that is perfectly fine. But the ballot that has been sent, because when they go vote in the e-poll book, when they present their identification, it will show that a ballot has been sent to you. So in that moment, if there's no way to verify that you're bringing that ballot back, you would not be able to vote in that instance, or you would vote provisionally.
But then when you vote provisional, that doesn't actually mean
You
that
would have to cure your ballot 6 days after the election if
Yeah.
you don't have that in.
Try not to do that. Yeah.
So it's good to let people know that if they have their mail-in ballot, but they want to decide to vote in person, for them to bring that ballot with them to the vote center to surrender it.
So for the request on the application, or if once they go to get it submitted, if they're not sure if it's been done accurately or correctly, how will they know that it's been counted so that they'll know I do or don't need to show up at an actual polling location to make sure that the vote is counted? Because if it's not correct, when they mail it in, how will they know?
You're saying how?
Surrender it, right? Correct, Miss?
So if I send
So
in my,
if it's never sent, they wouldn't have to surrender it.
no. If I send in my mail-in ballot and then I did something incorrect when I filled it out,
The ballot itself or the application?
No,
the ballot itself.
The ballot itself. What type of error in this instance would?
I don't know what a mail-in ballot looks like. I really can't tell you. So I don't know. I'm just thinking, if I'm a senior and I'm filling it out and I put something in the wrong space or whatever. And
Or
then
if you're not
There is a tracking process for the mail-in ballot. I will say that. And that is on Harris Vote as well. Harris Votes has the tracking system for you to track your ballot.
Okay. So if you, let's just say Myra Hippolyte, I am my age, I'm 63. And I thought, oh my God, okay, I'm not sure on the envelope if I put my 4 digits of my social security and my driver's license, or did I just put it inside the, fill it out in the ballot? Then I can go to voters at Houston Votes and check and see if my ballot came in. But if I don't turn it in, if I don't mail it in, then I have to surrender it and do curbside, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Cave, any other questions you may think?
No, ma'am. That's all the questions I had.
Okay, Nia?
No, I don't think there's anything else. I think we probably need to then try to see if we can reach out to somebody at the Secretary of State's office that can kind of dig a little deeper into the actual, dig a little deeper to get other issues, or even one of the county officials at one of the polling, whatever county officials over a particular polling location, if there's specific questions that community members have, then they could potentially address those too. So we probably need to dig a little bit deeper.
And you know what, Nia, on the next few months for Coffee and Conversation, we're gonna have presentations completely talking about voter registration. And so from August, September, October, we will be discussing during Coffee and Conversation, it's virtually and in person, voter registration, questions about voting, the new voter laws. So please don't make sure to not miss those, or you can go to our Facebook page on Amos Houston, or YouTube or Instagram, and you can watch those. And as well as we'll be recording them. So we will send them out to the community to view all our Coffee and Conversations, because we will be concentrating on making sure we cannot talk politics, of course, but we will be talking about education on your voter registration as well as voting rights.
Okay, and the next Coffee and Conversation is scheduled for August the 22nd, and we're going to be at the Magnolia Community Multi-Service Center, located at 7037 Capitol Street. So if anyone is interested in joining us there, we will be there on that day
And if there's
at 10 a.m.
And also, Nia, which I love that we did last month, the month before last, if there's any organization that would like to come out and give information, as long as it has nothing to do with politics. We can't have someone that is running for a council district or running for any position talk about, hey, I'm running for this position. But what we're trying to do right now from August through October and even past is just to educate, make sure that we're educating everyone about your voter rights, registration, the do's and don'ts, but you can't talk about politics. So if there's any organization that has information, they can come out, pass it out, and they can also pass on the information, as long as that has not anything to do with any politics. We can't.
Or self-service information that's relative to the community. So no commercial. This isn't an opportunity to come in and set up shop and advertise and promote your business, nothing like that, but general information that's of service to the community.
That's correct. And right now, as you understand, we are concentrating on voter rights and new voter laws. So if you have some information that you say, hey, I know this would be great information, please come on out to Coffee and Conversation on August 22nd from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. At Magnolia Multi-Service Center. Also, it'll be virtual, just like you're watching it right now. You're watching the Month of Service program. We started with the Month of Service virtual partnership, and now we're going on with Coffee and Conversation. Every month it'll be a different subject about voting. So we hope to see you all there also.
Okay.
Hello, I had some.
Yeah.
Yes,
Can I
go
ask a
ahead, Mr.
question?
Roth. Go ahead, Mr.
Yes,
Roth.
yes, ma'am. in the past, I've served as an election judge, but I'm having a hard time getting signed up to be an election judge through the county. I can't get any information. I know last time I was on this webinar with you guys, y'all had mentioned something and I tried to sign up, but I never did hear back from the county about serving as an election judge.
I just want to find out the status, Megan, about
Yeah.
that.
Hi, yes. So I would definitely direct you to reach out to the office or go to our website under the election worker tab, and that will be a great resource for you to get more information about how to become an election judge and also as an election worker as well. If you'd like, I can go back to the QR code for that, or you can go to there.
Yes, can you do the QR code?
Yes, no
I'll
problem.
take it. Okay.
Can you email that QR code as well to me too, when you send out the other information?
Yes, that is no problem.
Okay, all
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Is that it, Mr. Ross?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right. Definitely want to thank you, Megan and Brenton, for taking the time out this afternoon to provide us with this information. We know that there is a huge technical divide with a lot of the seniors in the community and trying to get access to this information and changes that are happening and the processes for, the more people think it's more convenient for a lot of folks to kind of do things online or whatever, they kind of forget about that group that does not have access to technology or the knowledge about how to maneuver through technology to be able to get some of these things done. So it's kind of leaving them in the dark with getting certain information. So the questions stem from, okay, well, how do we do this? And how do we teach them how to do, so we really want to get as much information out to the community as we can. So when we have the folks like Mr. Ross, Mr. Cave, Ms. Scurlock that are here, they're here representing an entire group of other people that they can try to hurry up and get information out to. So so for anybody that's joining us on this presentation, if there's any information that you guys have here that that you can share and pass along, we do encourage you to do that, to try to get this information out to as many people as we possibly can. Especially the information about people with felony convictions, what that process is and their eligibility to vote. Because one of the big things that most people, after they've been convicted, they just automatically assume, because I have a felony record, that I can no longer vote, that their vote, and that's not accurate. So we need to get this information out to the community, bottom line. So thank y'all for coming this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me.
I really, really appreciate it. And we know it was kind of like a last minute kind of thing to kind of get in here and get you acclimated. So if it's a possibility of something else, like, much like the coffee and conversations, if there's something else, then we will do our best to get as much information out as we can. So if any of our participants here have any other questions, please feel free to contact Myra and myself, as well as Harris Votes. We've given you their contact information as well. It is important that everybody kind of do their own due diligence when it comes to elections. Read, research, contact whoever it is that you need to contact to get the information, accurate information that you need, because we know that there's a lot of little things kind of floating around out there that's not actually true either. Be aware, be conscious of who you're providing your information to, and make sure you look for that yellow ID that she told you guys about when it comes to voter registration, and making sure that you get that receipt that you've registered to vote that's got your number on there. So what else was there?
You know what, Neil, it's not only the seniors also that we're concerned about. We also have to make sure that our college students are eligible to vote and are making sure they're getting registered to vote. Not only that, but also our 18-year-olds that are still in high school that, or as well as people that are moving in from different states. They need to get educated in what you can and can't do, what's the last date you can register to vote. And we're going to make sure that we get all this information for you, because, and I love, Neil, what you just said, don't listen to your mom, dad, aunt, uncle, and because rules and regulations change every year. So make sure you take time to get educated for yourself. What is it that you can and can't do? And make sure that you're properly ready, that when you're ready to go vote, everything is ready for you. No one can say, oh, I'm sorry, Myra Hippolyte, you can't vote. You didn't register properly, or you didn't mail in your ballot correctly. You forgot your last four numbers of your Social Security on the envelope. I mean, make sure from A to double X, even from your high school student, your grandchild, from you, from your daughter, son, everyone knows this is the process, and don't just take it from Nia and I. And that's why I said, wait a minute, let's, and we have people, community leaders, just like Ms. Gerlach, Mr. Cave, we're all trying to work on this process together, but it takes a team. And we're very grateful for our community leaders to always leading and guiding us through the process, and also our partners. Because without our partners, and when I'm calling and saying partners, I'm talking about you, whoever you are that's watching and listening to this program today, this virtual workshop, it's you also. Because if you have some information, you go, oh, they said the wrong thing in that virtual workshop, please email us the right information so we can make sure that everyone gets the correct information, not just what Myra and Nia or what Aunt Tom, Aunt Julia, Uncle Robert, said. Let's get the right information so that when we're all going to vote, we're ready, prepared, and we know how many people I can take in my little Volkswagen to go vote.
All right.
I'm sorry I had to do that.
With that being said, again, this is the first presentation for the month of August. Our next session will be this coming Thursday. This will be the legal and advanced planning, talking about wills and estate plan documents that actually make up an estate plan, what the process for getting those notarized and prepared, as it relates to guardianship, powers of attorney, transfer on death deeds, the will itself, or a handwritten will, or whatever. All of those documents will be covered and reviewed by an attorney presenter with one of our month of service partners with Lone Star Legal Aid. So I definitely want to have you guys join in for that, because again, that is a lot of information also that's kind of misguided and kind of thrown out there about what's legal, what's not legal, what you can, what you can't do, and why you actually need those documents to be put in place. If nothing else, COVID should have kind of, put it in everybody's head that, not neither the time nor the place when something's going to happen, but it's better to be prepared well in advance so that your assets, your family, they're all protected. So definitely want to join in with that. Next week will be clearing title for inherited property. So if there are any questions about, your grandmother's property that's been in your family for years, that she passed without a will, what that process is like for actually getting those properties put into your name, what is it that you need to do when there are multiple heirs for a property, if there are delinquent taxes that are due on the property, and so on and so forth. We'll be covering that next Thursday. So I will be sending out a schedule also of all of the August workshops that we've got that are scheduled so that you guys can see that, and we'll be able to go online to go and register for those as well. So we hope to see you all in person August 22nd for our August coffee and conversation. Yes, ma'am.
And Nia, sorry about that, but on August 26th, we're going to have the Department of Neighborhoods is having Don't Sell It, Build Wealth with It. We're talking about your heirship properties. We will be discussing what to do with inherited property, how to convert inheritance property into an Airbnb, how to become a landlord with the Houston Housing Authority. That's August 26th, and I will be sending out the link to register. It will be at the Collective at formerly known as the Power Center at 12401 South Post Oak Road, Houston, Texas 77045. August 26th, Saturday, August 26th from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. And I'll send out the link in a few minutes.
Okay. All right. With that being said, you all have a wonderful remainder of your afternoon. Again, thank you, Megan. Thank you, Brenton, for this afternoon. Hey, Freddie, thank you very much. We all hope that you all have a wonderful remainder of your day. Lynn, thank you for joining us again this afternoon. Mr. Ross, Reggie, Ms. Skerlock, and Mr. K for your input and your questions and your correspondences. Thank you all for joining us. And we hope you have a wonderful remainder of your day. Please stay cool out there. Cooling centers. Do you want to talk about the cooling centers real quick? If we've got seniors
Yes.
that are out, yeah.
If,
This is
if,
hot.
if it's hot, I mean, I know it's hot, of course. But if you're in an area and you have a home that you don't have any air conditioning, or you have one room that only has air conditioning, which we've all been in, please make sure to contact your 311, and they will let you know which multi-service center is a cooling center. So make sure if you're in a position that you're don't have air conditioning or your electricity goes out, please make sure to call 311 or 211 to get the correct cooling center, to know which cooling center is available close to you, to your home, instead of you having to drive across town.
All right. Well, y'all have a wonderful afternoon, and hopefully we'll see you all on Thursday. Take care of yourselves and stay safe.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Have a good evening.
Goodbye.